Okay, remember the end of last year, I made the point of, hey, listen, if you need anything, any tech in the next 2 years, buy it now because you're not gonna see a deal section like this for the next couple of years. And what I have here is 2 Windows laptops, amazing laptops really, and then 1 MacBook. And I'm gonna make a very interesting claim in this one. Windows laptops almost have no chance in this upcoming year. And whatever you've thought about the Apple upgrade pricing, it actually makes sense now. It's kind of good. So Apple's got an insane chance right now to not screw it up. Fingers crossed. The Mac is not just the performance leader, but also price leader. And I never thought I'd actually say this in one sentence. Let me explain what's going on.
Deepcool AK700 compact cooling with a smart display. It features 7 advanced copper heat pipes and a next-gen optimized tower delivering unmatched thermal control. I tested it on the Core Ultra 7 265K and it managed to keep it cool down while the CPU pulled over 220 watts of power. The digital screen is a nice touch to easily monitor your computer performance. On the white model, the display through a board effect is a very interesting touch. Perhaps a nice combo with the Gigabyte X870E Aero motherboard. Designed with an offset heat pipes to accommodate the larger heatsink depth for better component compatibility. This allows more space for tall RAM modules. The Deepcool AK700 is available in black and white colors. Check out more information in the description below.
So yes, all of these laptops are mucky because I've been using them. So what I have here is the MSI Stealth with the RTX 5070 Ti. This is the ProArt P16, and then the MacBook Pro M4 Max with 128 gigabytes of storage. So let me show you something very, very interesting. This is G.Skill RAM. I've bought this one, the 196 gigabytes, as you can see just over here. We bought this for the Aero PC build, if you don't remember that PC. But look at that, we've bought this for £1,242. Now, if you're looking at the pricing right now for something like this, look at this. G.Skill Neo DDR5 RDIMM, 64 mega transfers per second, exactly the same spec, $3,600. That's 3 times the pricing. Okay, Team Group, T-Grade, Expert Overclocking, DDR5, 64 gigabytes, has gone $750. If I check the history on this one, can't find data. They've hidden it from us because they know. A 64 gigabytes Corsair, 6,000. You get RGB here a little bit as well. $879, even more expensive. By the way, if you're new here, welcome to Tech Notice, creator-focused tech and PC channel. Consider subscribing, like the video, and back to the video. Look at this. In December, it was already ridiculous already. In November, yeah, pretty bad. But then look at that. Just October time, it was $360. That's literally like almost 3 times lower there. Then we've got 96 gigabytes of this one, $1,050 for 96 gigabytes. If that looks bad to you, then this looks even worse to you right there. In terms of pricing per gigabyte, it's absolutely ridiculous. If we're looking at our Mac pricing in here and we're going to buy a MacBook Pro or Mac Studio, it's exactly the same pricing. I've checked that in there. So we go in here, and if we're going for 48 gigabytes to 128 gigabytes, then we're paying $1,000 for 80 gigabytes because you've already got 48 gigabytes. Extra 80 will take you to 128. So we've got 80 gigabytes for $1,000. Now, if we do the maths now, calculating the pricing, remember the 64 gigabytes that we saw on DDR5, that is $750. And then pricing per gigabyte is $11.71. The 96 gigabyte kit that was $1,050 roughly, is $10.93 per gigabyte. This Apple overpriced RAM is $12.5 per gigabyte. As you can see, the price difference is not too bad. And then finally, this RDIMM, if you'd like to get any of those, because it's server grade, most likely you're going to be building AI PC, so you must be taxed. It's going to cost you $28.11 per gigabyte. That is more than double the Apple upgrade pricing. So in this economy right now, the Windows laptops kind of don't make much sense just because it's going to be absolutely insane. The pricing you're going to get paid for the RAM, you can buy a whole system. So the system integrators are pretty screwed. I've spoken to some of the manufacturers behind the scenes. I can't tell you exactly who and who said that. They've made their deals with their RAM providers, right? So let's say you're making Asus ProArt or the MSI Stealth. You're going to make a prediction and make a deal with some of the RAM providers that you buy the RAM from to put it in the laptop. These guys have said that the RAM providers are telling them, don't make any predictions, how much and for how much for we're going to give you. Just take what we're gonna give you, which is pretty crazy. Now, I don't know what Apple is doing. Behind the scenes, the companies operate in the same way. You're gonna make a prediction what your forecast of a product sales is gonna be for the next few quarters, and then you're gonna make a deal and buy all of that stock in. Now, we don't know what deals Apple's got them. Apple's a big player. Maybe they've got secured a good pricing for the next little bit, or Apple's absolutely gonna just swallow their profits, keep the pricing the same, which I'm hoping they're gonna do, and then absolutely kill the sales for all of their competition, which kind of makes sense if they still can make profit, but if they can make profit. So I've made a lot of videos about Apple's upgrade pricing and how it just makes absolutely no sense and Apple is ripping you senseless. But I can't believe I'm saying this, but it kind of makes sense. If you're planning on buying a creator laptop and you're planning on buying the Apple, perhaps you're coming from Windows, and one of the main downsides has been that, look, if something happens or I want to upgrade, I can't do it. And it's true, you can upgrade the RAM later. You're just gonna be stuck with that amount of RAM till, it breaks, and you're just gonna use this as a heavy paperweight. But there are a few reasons why the Apple upgrade is not just a good price, but actually few other benefits. Number one, the memory bandwidth. The upgraded RAM or memory, we can't call it RAM really because it is a unified memory, so it's shared between the GPU and CPU. The actual bandwidth of that RAM that we're getting in there is so much greater than what we get in here. For example, if you've got a 6,000 mega transfers per second kit on any of the Windows laptops, then roughly the memory bandwidth is 96 to 100 gigabytes, somewhere around that range. The memory bandwidth on this one here is 546 gigabytes per second. That is more than 5.5 times greater bandwidth than this in here. It's just faster memory. Number two, the SSD life. Now, I'm not sure if you know how macOS works, but if you run out of RAM, the capacity of RAM on your Mac system, and you are doing, let's say, video editing, any task, you've got a million Chrome tabs open, you're doing other stuff, and your system doesn't have enough RAM, what it's going to do is it's going to empty the RAM capacity and just write some of that data on your SSD. And then you can use some more RAM. And then when you don't need that, it's just going to either empty it or pull that SSD RAM back again. But what that does is it's actually going to destroy your SSD lifecycle, and macOS has known for doing that. Obviously, with software updates, they've got a little bit better at doing that. But regardless, if you don't have enough RAM on your system, for example, some of the 8GB MacBook Air models that a lot of people are still using, just check your SSD life, because you might be at the very end of it, because macOS is just writing so much of data on your SSD and then reading it again, absolutely ruining through your SSD lifecycle, because SSDs, the storage in there, has cells. Storage cells, and each cell can be rewritten and read over X amount of times. They've got a life cycle, and when that goes, it's gone. On a hard drive, there is no life cycle. You can just write on it until the whole thing just physically can't work anymore, but they can run for decades sometimes. So by having more RAM, you're going to give more bandwidth for your operating system and for your workflow to work, which means that you don't need to write some of that data on your SSD, saving your SSD health. Another benefit for the upgrade. And thirdly, you're not just getting your RAM for the CPU or operating system, you're actually using also VRAM. So you're getting more video memory. And when you're upgrading that on a Windows laptop, there is no way to upgrade video memory. You're gonna have to upgrade the chip as well. Whereas on the Mac, you can upgrade your VRAM, if that makes sense. So having 128 gigabytes, like I have in here, for example, gives you so much flexibility of what you can do in your workflow. I mean, running local LLMs, suddenly this becomes very, very attractive. Having over 96 gigabytes VRAM for your GPU, that's just insane. Now, if you enjoy videos like this, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already. We're creator focused PC and tech channel. And I'm gonna give you some of the examples right now. So here's the thing. I have found that if you want to take advantage of the pricing at the moment, if you upgrade your RAM on the MacBook Pros, I haven't found really any deals there, and you're gonna have to pay the flat out pricing, $5,000, for example, for this laptop in here, which is pretty insane pricing, right? But the P16 with the RTX 5090, it costs the same amount. If you wanna get a deal on your MacBook Pro, and regardless what I just said to you, perhaps maybe you don't need that much RAM, but you wanna get a deal, check this one out. So what I have here is the M4 Pro chip with 24 gigabytes of unified memory, and it should be $2,000, but it's $250 off when you buy it off Amazon, not from Apple side. Check out the link in the video description below if you want to pick this one up. Then we've got the M4 Max, 16 core, 14 core, so it's fully optimized in there. So it's the full size, basically 48 gigabytes and 1 terabyte of SSD. It's $3,239. Now this is a renewed model, which means that someone has, returned it or something like that. But if you wanted completely new, not renewed, $3,500. But if we were just in here again, take a look at that, $3,999. So this is $4,000, yet on Amazon, the same exact device is $3,500. Almost $500 off. So check out the link in the video description below, whichever device you're looking for. On Amazon, it is cheaper. But what is not cheaper on Amazon is if you're looking for the 128 gigabyte version. Because then again, look, we're paying $5,000 for this here. This one here, again, is $5,000, $5,000, $5,000. Interesting, Best Buy doesn't even allow you to have different RAM sizes. It doesn't even tell you which, okay, system memory, 36 gigabytes of RAM. Yeah, not that good on deals on Best Buy. Do you understand my concerns? What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section below. If Windows laptops won't have a deal with any of the RAM providers, I don't know what's gonna happen. Now, we'll see. I'm still excited to check them out, but I thought I'll just share this with you before I'm gonna make the 1 year and 6 months almost review of the MacBook Pro M4 Max 128 gigabytes that I've been using. And that comes from a guy whose main workstation is the P16. Everything's set up in there. That's what I'm using there. But regardless, MacBooks seem very promising and very interesting. Check out some of my favorites in the video description below.